My name is Jon Newhard, and I love food. I've spent over 25 years studying food and working as a professional chef. During that time, I've traveled across the country and around the world. One thing I've discovered is that a lot of my favorite food comes from right here, where I call home. Come with me now as I visit some of the farms and meet some of the people who help grow and produce this great food. We'll see why what they do is so special and unique. Then I'll take some of their fantastic products back to my kitchen and show you some recipes that you can make in your own home. I'm so excited to share with you what it is that makes me a Vermont foodie. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Vermont Foodie. Today we are at one of the biggest and also one of the oldest maple sugaring operations here in Franklin County, Branons Maples. And I'm here with Gene Branon, who is the chief sugarer, and we're going to talk a little bit about Branons and what it is and the great history of Branons here today. So, hi Gene, thanks for being on the show. I'm great, man. How are you today?
Well, thank you for asking. Yep.
Cool. Well, it's really great to be here. So a lot of folks are into sugar making around here. Your family's been doing it for a very, very long time. It's over 100 years. I was wondering if you could share with us how your family got started in this business.
Right. So, and I guess my great grandfather obviously started sugaring like many others did in town. A few other families did in town, and they would start. Obviously, they would tap the tree, put a spout in it, and they would hang buckets. Back in the day, and there was nothing to see 2, 3, 4 buckets, hanging on a large maple tree back in the day. And so then they would obviously gather and bring to the sugar house with the horses and the sled, and they would boil it obviously and make the syrup and give the syrup to family and friends and workers that helped them on the farm and stuff. And probably if there's any syrup left, they may have sold it to the local hardware store, or that they had some few different things to be sold there. And I don't know how much money was made back then, but as years went on, it became a lot bigger than what it was then.
Nice. Well, what kind of scope do you make now? How much syrup would you say you make in an average year?
Between 50 and 60,000 probably gallons of syrup.
Wow.
It's what we want to do.
That's fantastic. Well, how have methods of sugar making changed from the time that your great-great-grandfather was doing it to today? Right.
Good question. So, again, back in the day, the buckets with the horses and the sled, whatever, and we have a bunch of guys out in the field with you, and it was done between chores. Back, that long ago, milking cows, farming was a big part of the town, and sugaring was a big part of it, when the season came. So between chores, grandfathers and my father would get out and tap the trees and gather the trees and go back to chores at night. And then after chores at night, they'd boil the syrup or boil the stuff to make the syrup. And that's kind of how it was done back in the day. And as we got older, for our immediate family, we would help in the barn, and we would go to school and come out of school and help gather buckets, or maybe some days we would be sick for some reason and we'd end up staying home and gathering buckets. And
still put you to work
instead of going to school. And again, technology, time changes things, and tubing was developed. And that's where you see all these tubes going through the woods that carry the sap, to the bottom of the hill, basically to a tank. And that tank is picked up by a truck or tractor nowadays and brought to the sugar house where it's boiled.
Very cool. Well, if somebody wanted to get a hold of some Branons maple syrup to try out some of the syrup that comes with this rich history behind it, where could they find it?
Well, we're always open to the public, and during the season, and friends and families, any time of the year, they give us a call and ask for syrup, and they get it. But we have a website. We're online, Branons Maples, or BranonVTOrganicMaple.com. our web, and we sell the syrup and other maple products online. So it's there for anybody who would like to try some.
Very nice. So what's the future hold for Branon's Westview?
Well, hopefully the same as the way we were raised, and my brothers and I, for our children, that they can endure the ventures that we've got going as far as staying sugaring and helping with the farm operations that we run, and keep growing as we need.
Nice.
Growing as we need.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and learn a little bit more about sugaring. And I'm going to take some of your syrup back home with me. And I think a lot of people are into maple desserts and sweet maple things, but I'm going to try and do some more savory applications to maybe teach some people some new ways to work with maple syrup.
Sweet, good idea.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Gene.
Thank you.
Hey, we just got back from Branon's Sugar Bush. What a great time that was. So we've got some maple syrup that we need to use now. I was thinking what I would make with maple syrup for you guys today. We'd go a little bit less traditional. Everybody knows how to make sweets with maple syrup. I mean, this is Vermont, right? What? Try making something savory, something that we could even have for lunch. So today I'm going to make for you a pineapple salad with a little bit of a Caribbean twist. It's going to have a sweet maple salad dressing. And after that, we're going to do a very spicy, sweet kind of firecracker shrimp that we can serve right alongside of the salad. So we've got our pineapple here to start off with the salad. And in addition to using pineapple as an ingredient, I thought it'd be really pretty if we use the pineapple for our serving vessel as well. So what we're gonna do is we'll get a serving platter out as well as our mixing bowl, and we're gonna go right straight down through the center of the pineapple this way. Like so. So you'll notice I didn't go exactly in half. I've got one side that's bigger than the other. The big side is what's going to become our bowl. The half we'll save for an ingredient in our salad. So another thing we want to think about is the pineapple is round, and we want it to sit flat when we serve our salad out of it so it doesn't spill and make a mess. So basically I'm just going to take the bottom half off right here like so. So we've got a flat pineapple. So next step is to dig a cavity in the pineapple, which we can serve our salad in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paring knife very slowly with my knife kind of at an angle. I'm going about 45 degrees here. Just work my way around the inside. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because when we put our salad in, when we're finally done, what we're going to do is sort of overflow just a little bit. So if you have less than perfect cuts around the outside, it's going to be hidden underneath the finished product anyway. So as I go around, I'm sort of increasing the angle my knife is until we finally got our section out. So from this middle section, we want to use this, right? But a pineapple has a core, and you probably can see there's a light stripe running right down the middle. That's the core of the pineapple. It's a little more fibrous and tough. So we're going to cut that out and throw that away. Like so. We can just chop this up to get ready to go right into our salad. Now we've started our cavity. We'll add the juice there, but it's clearly not deep enough yet. So we're just going to continue to go around the outside. And then we're going to take our knife and from the inside come across. Then we should be able to take our spoon and just pop the inside of the pineapple out. And we're still going to want to cut these into smaller pieces, because this is a salad that we want to be able to pick up with a fork and eat, right? You don't want huge chunks. Voila. And once again, we'll save our juice right into our mixing bowl. And we're gonna set our pineapple right here for our nice presentation, which we'll get back to when our salad is complete. Now we've got this other side of the pineapple that we want to use. So what I'm gonna do is put the flat side down so I have a safe, stable surface that I'm cutting. And I'm just gonna peel it by taking off the top and the bottom first, thus creating a couple more flat sides. And then I'm gonna pick the pineapple up. And if you look at the inside of the pineapple, you can see where the little brown pineapple eyes, that's where the seeds grow, about how deep they are. So I'm gonna look at the cut side. I'm gonna use where the seeds are as my guide to go around the pineapple and remove the skin. Now there's a great place to see just how deep those little eyes go. And they're perfectly edible. They're not gonna hurt you, but they're a little rough and bristly, and they're not a super great texture you wanna have chewing on in your mouth. So we've got our pineapple cut as so. I'm just gonna go through crosswise one time, and then I'm gonna turn it 90 degrees back this way, and then another 90, and straight through, which gives us a nice diced pineapple. This stuff we scooped out, we can just chop up. It's a salad. Nobody's gonna go through and notice that it's not a perfect square. Everybody's gonna be too busy noticing how delicious it is. So pineapple goes in the bowl. Quickly wipe off the juice so that we have a nice, clean, and hopefully less sticky surface to work on. Our other ingredients for this pineapple salad, we've got red bell pepper, we've got some fresh cilantro, red onion, jalapeno, and we're gonna squeeze some lime juice in. All this is a salad. It's all gonna get mixed together. It doesn't matter what order you wanna cut it in. The other beauty of a salad is you make it the way you want it. If you don't like red pepper, by all means, leave the red pepper out. If you want super spicy, put 3 jalapenos in instead of 1. If you don't like limes, don't use that. The important part of cooking for yourself is making something that you're gonna enjoy. It's more important to me that you learn how to make a salad than that you learn how to follow a recipe. That's why when you watch this show, there's not gonna be any recipes. We're only gonna speak to techniques. So today's technique is learning to make a salad. So I love all this stuff, which is suitable since I created the recipe, right? Take your pepper, cut it in half. Pull the seeds out of the center just like so. One more time over here. And then we'll take each half and we're ready to go right down the line, cutting it up into appropriately sized pieces. And I think, judging by the amount of pineapple we've got in the bowl, I'm actually gonna save this other half of the pepper for something else later. I want it to be a pineapple salad, so I want the pineapple to be very prominent. I want that to be the most notable ingredient. So I want everything else to go in there that's gonna add flavor, but we really want the pineapple to be the thing that stands out. So to peel an onion, I cut at an angle on both sides, and that helps me peel off almost the first layer. Once the first layer is off, like so, it's very easy to just go right around the circle, and you've got your onion peeled and ready to go. Now, just like we did with the pepper, and kind of like we did with the pineapple, we're gonna cut it in half and make a flat side. The onion has layers, much like an ogre. And if you want to cut your onion into small pieces, you can use those layers to your advantage. So the layers are kind of running through this way already. So I'm not gonna cut like that. I am, however, going to do up and down at one side, turn 90 degrees, just like we did with the pineapple. Up and down again, and then this little part on the bottom, I'm gonna lay flat and go through so I've got all those layers separated too. Onion goes into the bowl. Another quick wipe, and we'll do our jalapeno. Now, when you're cutting a jalapeno, it is spicy, and you're going to get the spicy jalapeno oils on your fingers. It is very crucial that you don't then put your finger in your eye. I've learned this the hard way. You will certainly regret it. Your eye will burn like fire for quite some time. There isn't really much of a help for that either. You can flush with water, it makes it feel better for a moment, but that's it. So, like we did with our bell pepper, we're gonna take our jalapeno, go right in half. Now this time, I'm shooting for medium level of spice. If you look at a jalapeno, the chemical ingredient that causes it to be hot is located in the pith, that's the white inside here, and the seeds. So to achieve medium hot, I'm going to remove both the pith and the seeds by cutting my jalapeno in quarters and just taking my knife and cutting that part right out. And that part we will dispose of in our compost. Next up, for a small dice, we're just going to go the long way. For the whole pepper. And then we're going to go across to make little tiny pieces. And those little tiny pieces will pack enough of a little punch for you that you're not going to want to crunch down on a big one. And the smaller one will taste very delicious. Just a couple more ingredients. This is fresh cilantro. It's very easily available in the grocery store, or you can grow it yourself at home. It's got a nice sort of island tropical scent to it, almost Asian. And so we're going to cut this up, just chop it up into fine little pieces and throw it right in. So the easiest way to do this is just to kind of bunch it all up. It's okay if you squish it a little. It's going to get a little bruised as we mix our salad together anyhow. And go right through. We'll wipe off our knife, and we'll put all this right into the mix as well. So that does it for all of the solid ingredients that are going to go into our salad. Now the next thing we need to do is put our dressing ingredients in. The dressing is very simple. We're not going to make a complicated salad dressing for this. We really want to highlight the flavors of the vegetables and the fruits that are in there. So all we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of sweet with our Branons Maple syrup and a little hint of sour with some fresh squeezed lime juice. Squeezing a lime is very easy. Limes very seldom have seeds. I just take a quick look and verify that there isn't a seed in there, and then just squeeze it by hand right over top. We'll do the whole lime. And then we'll add our maple syrup. And once again, just like choosing anything you put in a salad, this is something you want to do to your own flavor, your own taste. Put in what you like. Experiment a little. Start with a little bit, mix it up, have a taste, and then add more if you want. Remember, you can always add more, but you can never take it back out again once it's in there. And the last thing we're going to put in is just a hint of tamari. Tamari is basically gluten-free soy sauce. So if you have soy sauce at home, you don't need to run out and buy tamari. You can just use that too. So because this is soy sauce, it does have a little bit of saltiness to it, and that flavoring component is going to come from the tamari. So we're ready to mix. So note while I'm mixing the salad that I'm being fairly gentle. I'm starting at the bottom and I'm scooping towards the top. So we're just going to toss this over. Now you can see the maple syrup and the tamari are starting to coat all of our vegetables and our fruit. And that's it. It's just that simple. So we're ready to go to our pineapple that we're going to serve from. Now I'm going to just spoon this right in, I think. All right, so we're ready to move on to our shrimp. Shrimp is going to be a really easy recipe too. That's part of my goal, is to make everything nice and easy so anybody can try it who thinks it might sound interesting. So I've got this beautiful bowl of shrimp, and the first thing I wanted to show you is how to peel the shrimp. Shrimp comes frozen from the grocery store, which is great. You want to buy it frozen. I know a lot of people speak to freshness of fish, but if you're buying something that comes from the ocean far away and it's fresh, then it's had the entire time it's taken to travel to your counter to start spoiling. If you buy it frozen, they freeze it on the boat at sea, and it's much safer, and you're going to get a much fresher product in the end. So shrimp comes easy peel is the official terminology. What that means is they basically cut this slit right down the back. There's a vein that runs down this, which is actually the intestinal tract for the shrimp, which you don't want to eat. It's already removed. Piece of cake. All you need to do for an easy peel shrimp is start at the top, work your way around, done. Once again, start at the top, work your way around, kind of pinch the legs. You can also, if you want, when you get to this stage, grab at the base of the tail and give a little pinch and remove the tail shell. It looks pretty, but it's crunchy. So once again, your judgment. Make what you like. It's for you and your friends. So our shrimp is peeled. The components to our sauce, once again, very simple. Spicy and sweet. The sweet is going to come from Branons Maple syrup, of course. We're going to have our tamari once again for just a little bit of salt. And the spicy is going to come from these. These are fresh habaneros from my little plant in my pot. And they've got a definite kick, but they're not so hot that they're going to blind you. They have a nice fruitiness behind them too. And they're available in the grocery store. If you don't grow them yourself, I'd certainly recommend giving them a shot if you like spicy things. Just like we did with our bell pepper and our jalapenos when we were making our pineapple salad, we're going to start by cutting them in half lengthwise. And just like I mentioned when we were cutting the jalapenos, the spiciest part of a habanero is the seeds and the pith. Now this is firecracker shrimp, and I want to have a little fire in my cracker. So I'm going to take the seeds out, but I'm not really going to spend a lot of time worrying about getting all the pith out. So all I'm going to do is kind of see where the main seed pod is, and the stem, I'm just going to go kind of a little half circle around that. Just with the tip of my knife, kind of making a V cut going in from either side. Do that one more time. In from one side, in from the other. Done. And just like we spoke about when we were cutting the jalapenos, my left hand now has spicy oil all over it from the habaneros. I'm not going to touch my eyes. And be very careful about touching any sensitive areas before I wash my hands thoroughly with soap and water. Also similar to when we cut up our jalapenos, a little bit goes a long way. So I want to cut these in fairly small pieces. So very same technique. Gonna go make long, thin strips. And then take my strips and turn them so I can go against the length of the strip and cut into tiny, short little pieces. And there it is. That's all there is to it. So we're going to start by cooking our shrimp. We'll add a little oil to our pan, which has been sitting here warming up. You always want to start with your pan nice and hot. And I can see that pan's hot. If you look at the way the oil is kind of shimmering and it's flowing quickly around the pan, that's indicative that the oil has absorbed a bunch of that heat that's been in the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to go right into the pan with the shrimp. And you hear that nice sizzle right at the beginning. That's once again another sign that our pan is definitely hot enough. I'm going to let the shrimp sit and sizzle for a little bit. And the way that you tell that they're done is they're going to start turning a nice pink color. So you can see the pink is starting to form around the edges. So I'm going to start giving them a stir and a little bit of a toss. I don't want to keep my pan off of the heat element too much because we want to keep everything nice and hot. But we want to make sure the shrimp cooks well too. So you notice the shrimp is curling up tight. That's another sign that it's getting done. All this area around here that looks translucent, which means not solid white, almost a little bit clear, that means the shrimp is not completely cooked as well. So we're going to look for that part to be turning white. And it's getting close. As we start getting close, I'm going to add a few more ingredients, because basically what we're going to do is make the sauce right in the pan while the shrimp is cooking. So the first thing we'll do is we'll add our jalapeno or our habaneros in, so they can start cooking as well. Now, as they cook, it's actually going to probably mellow the spice a little bit from them. You're still going to know they're there. And as everything goes forward even a little bit more, we'll add our tamari, which is going to bubble up. It's going to help some of the shrimpy goodness that is stuck to the bottom of the pan come loose. You can give it a little scrape. And lastly, of course, the maple syrup. Let's go a little heavy-handed with the maple syrup, because you know what? It's good. Okay, so we just poured these room temperature liquids into this pan. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wait for all this to come up to a bubble again. Everything is going to simmer gently. The water that's inside the maple syrup and the tamari is going to reduce, and it will form a great sauce. So as you can see, our shrimp has been cooking. Our syrup has reduced quite nicely. You can see that the bubbles are getting a little bit bigger. That means the sauce is getting thicker, and that means that we are done. We're ready to go. So I'm just gonna slide our platter over here. Now, once again, this is definitely a meal you could serve at a party. There's plenty of food for friends and family. And I'm just gonna ever so gently, without hopefully spattering too much, put our shrimp right next to our pineapple salad. Our delicious maple habanero sauce, sweet and spicy. Great way to go. And there it is. Maple firecracker shrimp served with a great Caribbean style pineapple salad, all made with maple syrup from our friends at Branons Westview Maples in Fairfield. Let's not forget the most important part though. I gotta taste it. You've got the sweet from the pineapple. Whoa. Spicy jalapeno. Freshness from cilantro. That's great. There's so much going on. There's just all different kind of flavors bursting at the same time. And lastly, our shrimp. See how spicy this is. If you've had habaneros before, it's exactly what you would expect. Very first sensation is sweet maple syrup. As I chew and swallow, I can feel this heat from the habaneros coming up, almost from the back of my tongue forward. It's right there. So there you have it. Pineapple salad, maple firecracker shrimp. Easy to make, easy to enjoy, easy to share with your friends and family. But this is all for me. Thank you for tuning into Vermont Foodie. We hope you'll join us next time.